Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nikita. I'm the product manager and the petroleum engineer here at LMKR. Today I'm excited to show you the SAGD configuration scenarios that we have implemented into GVERSE Field Planner 2019.2, and I'll show you some other enhancements that we have in store for you. Alright, let's get started. So steam assisted gravity drainage is what you folks have asked us about, and we have implemented that into GVERSE Field Planner. SAGD is the shortened version. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this is done. You have two separate wells that get drilled. You have a production well and an injector well. The injector well gets drilled above the producer. Why? It's because these oil reserves, they're too viscous to get out. So what we do is through the injection well, we go ahead and inject steam, which softens the bitumen. It drops off to the production well on the bottom over here, and then that oil can get produced with the water vapor that's in there. When it gets produced up to the surface, it goes to the facilities, the water is separated, the oil is separated, and up to 80% of that water can be reused as steam once again. This is SAGD in a nutshell. So what do we have? We have a pair of producer and injector wells. We can also offset the pairs, which I'll show you how we do that in GVERSE Field Planner. And then the last thing I'll show you is the ability to duplicate these scenarios all over your map, so you have a quicker workflow. Alright, the other enhancement that we did, this is huge, it's flexible positioning. When you have pads and you have wells, we had a drag and drop functionality before, but there wasn't a specific way to offset wells or pads by a specific amount. Let's say by 50 feet or 100 feet. Now we can do that. We can flip wells, we can flip pads, we can offset it by a specific amount, and also we can reset the entire configuration. So this is a very quick way for you to make changes right on the map. Let me show you everything in 2 minutes. Let me show you what I'm going to show you within the demo. This is a quick layout. So although this is not a SAGD, I just picked a very simple scenario. I will show this to you in a SAGD version. This simple scenario has a pad and has 4 well sticks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head and duplicate it once. I'm going to flip it and also duplicate it. And then I'm going to duplicate it again to the top. Now I want to put another pad and a set of wells on top. What I can do is duplicate them but also rotate. So once this is produced, we have a scenario, a layout. My next goal is to take this and put it all over the map. So what I can do is now select this entire scenario and simply duplicate it all over the map. This is going to save you a lot of time from doing it well by well. All right, let's go ahead and see that in action in Geographics and GVERSE Field Planner. Launch Field Planner. We are in GeoAtlas right now, so I have Field Planner launched. You can launch it from here, and let's create a new plan. And I'm going to automatically create a pad. And I want one side. We're going to have 9 well sticks. And I'm going to override the spacing and make it just a little bit tighter. Alright, so we have something like that. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can move your well sticks in any way you want from here. For example, let's say I want to space them a little bit more. I can pick one or I can pick multiple surface points, right click, and let's say I want to move it up by 50 feet. There you go. And let's say I want to space these by 25 feet. There we go, that easy. Let's go ahead and add some injectors. What I'm going to do is go back into GVERSE Field Planner, right click, and say Add Injector Wells. Now I want to offset them in the x-axis by 25 feet. nothing in the y-axis, and the z-axis, I want these wells above my producers, and I want that about 25 feet above as well. So when we do this, you'll notice that we have now added pairs of injectors that are following the producers, except they're 25 feet above them in the z-axis. All these points are flexible. So if you need to select a producer or an injector, when you click on them, although they overlay each other, it gives you an option. You can select a producer or an injector, or you can select them both and move both of them at the same time. You can also select any of the nodes, either a producer, an injector, or both. In addition, you can also hold control, and it will allow you to select multiple nodes or multiple sticks or multiple bottom holes or surface locations. So the flexibility here is great. So now we have one scenario, we like it, it works for us. What we want to do is we want to duplicate this scenario in different places so we have a whole SAGD configuration. What I can do is go ahead and pick up the entire thing, and you have a couple of choices. One, you can right click and you have the ability to move the pad and the surface locations only, the entire pad and wells. If you do this, you can offset that. So for example, I can go ahead and say, you know what, I want you to offset this by, let's say something like 4,000 feet to the bottom. So negative y-axis, right? I don't want you to rotate, no need to flip. So click OK. And there we go, it moved. Now let's say we want to duplicate this configuration. We can right click and we'll say duplicate the configuration, and let's go ahead and move it up. The y-axis, let's say 7,000 feet above, right? No need to rotate. There you go. You just moved it up by 7,000 feet. The other option that you have, a little less accurate, but great if you want to do things quickly. Select the entire pad and just drag it. Drag it to wherever you need to drag it. So for example, I'll drag it right over here. Drop, move entire pad and wells. And there you go, you still have that functionality. So let's go ahead and continue transforming this into what we had in our PowerPoint presentation. What I'm going to do is select this pad, right click, and we are going to duplicate, but we are going to flip these set of wells horizontally, and we're going to offset them by negative 3,000 feet, so to the left on the x-axis. And when we do this, you get that? And now let's say we want to do the same with this. We can do two things. We can either move this one up here, or we can just flip this one. I say we flip this one. That looks like the easier move to do. We'll do the same thing. Duplicate, flip horizontally, minus 3,000. 3,000 feet. Voila. Okay, and then the top one. There's going to be a configuration right over here, right? So what we're going to do is, well, let's say we pick this one up, right? Pick this one up. We're going to move it over here, drop it, and when we duplicate, let's go ahead and rotate the pads and the wells. We're going to rotate them by, relative to this, by 90 degrees clockwise, right? So 90 degrees. If you wanted to rotate them counterclockwise relative from this, it would be negative 90. But in this case, it's 90 degrees. We don't need to flip anything. Click OK. And there you go. Just like that, we created this entire configuration. We can make it as accurate as possible. We did not have to drag and drop. We could have specified the offset values and dropped it in the exact location that we wanted to. But that's how quickly we can create a SAGD scenario. Now consider this scenario. We want to do the same thing that we did in the PowerPoint presentation with these guys. We want to duplicate the entire configuration and move it. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All we have to do is zoom in a little bit and pick the selector. Start selecting each of the pads. So select the first pad, hold Control, and select each of the other pads. Right click, and I want to move this, I want to duplicate this to the x-axis by 14,000 feet. I want to move it to the right. So I just put in the exact offsets. You can also put y and x at the same time. And now, if I zoom out, that is how quickly we can go ahead and arrange our SAGD configurations. We could do it all over the map, just pick the exact location, find out the offsets, and place them in there. So let's recap what we saw today. I showed you guys the SAGD configuration and how we can do it within GVERSE Field Planner. We saw the way we created the producer and the injector pairs right within GVERSE Field Planner. You also saw the flexible positioning where we can flip the configurations horizontally, we can flip them vertically, we can offset them by the X and the Y axis. We can offset pairs, so that means we give the injectors offset in the X direction or the Y direction, and we can also offset those injectors to be above the producers with a negative Z value, for example. And also we can duplicate one SAGD configuration scenario among the entire map, all over the entire map. And so that gives you a much faster workflow than doing everything manually, well by well. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was the presentation. I can take any questions.